knocked out. England destroys India. Poor form, poor performance, poor decisions. Who's to blame?
Hello and welcome to Battle of Champions, coming to you live from Adelaide. It's a day that wasn't to the expectations of the Indian fans. Many of them were hoping that finally India might get their hands on an ICC trophy, a trophy that they last won 9 years ago. But once again, it's that crucial knockout game, and once again, the men in blue have faltered. They were looking good in the league stages. Many thought that this could be the year where they could go to the next step, and that dream final everyone was hoping for between India and Pakistan. That wasn't to be. Pakistan did their bit. They've reached the final. But the men in blue today came second compared to another team that was also wearing the blue. Those are the Three Lions. A dominating performance from the team from England. Their openers had an outstanding stand there, a century stand between the two of them, which took them home in convincing fashion. We'll get you the highlights, all the analysis in the next 1 hour or so. Joining us live will be our cricket analyst in Sunny Gavaskar. We'll also be joined by Harbhajan Singh a little later. But first, let's quickly take out the highlights from this game and take a look at how the cookie crumbled.
A big pressure game, and KL Rahul walked back without much under his belt. Just 5 to be exact.
And England have drawn first blood.
Virat Kohli resumed his love affair at Adelaide with an expansive drive over the extra cover fence.
Fractionally pitched up and he hit it on the up.
Rohit Sharma also tried his luck. Got a few boundaries, missed a few, before finally his 28-ball struggle came to an end when the Indian skipper was caught at wide long on by Sam Curran for 27. With India 62 for 2 at the halfway mark.
Made it up quite comfortably.
It was now once again left to Virat and the informed Suryakumar Yadav, and the latter began well with some of his trademark strokes.
Through the cover, sir.
But thousands of hearts gathered at the Adelaide Oval sank when Adil Rashid forced Suryakumar Yadav to miscue one, and England had got the big one.
Picks up the wicket of Suryakumar Yadav, and you can see why England are celebrating here.
Hardik Pandya sensed the urgency and upped the tempo with a few sixes that got India to push the run rate.
From Pandya.
At the other end, Virat got to his 4th half-century of this tournament, but the very next ball, he was gone.
And Kohli.
Hardik Pandya turned things around for India with a 33-ball 63 to help India get to a score of 168 for 6.
Spins running. Worry about Pandya's hitting.
While the Indian batters struggled at the start, the English openers found no such demons on the wicket. It was business as usual for Buttler and Alex Hales as boundaries began to come thick and fast, and England had raced to 63 in the power play. Hales was particularly more severe and latched onto any opportunity that came his way, racing to his 50 of just 28 balls. England finished off the formalities with India's hopes of winning their first ICC trophy in 9 years going up in smoke.
Real hammering here.
Sports Bureau, India Today.
It's a record partnership.
All right, come at the man, they say, and so did Jos Buttler and Alex Hales come to the party. Dominating performance there from the English batsmen. At one stage, it looked like even if India got to a total like 200, probably wouldn't have been enough with the way the English batsmen were batting. That's the kind of template that England have been playing with. Remember, they're also the 50-over world champions because they've set this template in international cricket that no matter what the situation, you have to go go hammer and tongs, and they've stayed true to that template, which is why, as I said, they're 50 over world champions and now in the final of a T20 World Cup. Sunny Gavaskar joins us live on the program. We'll try and look for reasons where India may have faltered, what really went wrong with India, and not just this in semi-final, but even if you look back at the last T20 World Cup, India failed to get past that group stage. Sunny bhai, you know, I'm just looking at various knockout matches for India. It happened in the 2015 World Cup. In the semi-final, you lost to Australia right here in Australia. 2019, it was that one bad day, everyone said, versus New Zealand. You lost it there. It's happened now a few times in the T20 World Cups. The only time you won that T20 World Cup, 2007. It's happening at an alarming consistency. India faltering when it comes to the knockout stage. Should Indian fans be worried? Is there a problem there?
Look, I think sometimes, you know, teams can play well at the group stage, but when it comes to the knockout stage, the pressure is that much more, simply because you know that there is not going to be another game if you don't do well in that particular game. And that can maybe be a kind of a negative way to enter the match. I just think that today England was just vastly superior to India, both in the bowling as well as the batting. I mean, batting 170 for no loss actually tells you how good England were today in chasing that target. And they got it in 16 overs as well, with 4 overs to spare.
Just looking at this specific match, Sunny bhai, where do you think the match was lost by India? Was it in that batting power play initially that you weren't aggressive enough? Was it later in the bowling power play you didn't pick up those early wickets? Or was it those middle overs by the Indian spinners? Where do you think the match was lost?
I would imagine that allowing the England spinners 7 overs, Adil Rashid and Livingston to bowled 7 overs for 41 runs. That is less than 6 runs an over for spinners. For a subcontinent team that is supposed to be very good at playing against spin. I'm not saying that they should have been only hitting sixes, but the fact that they weren't even knocking them around is probably where India might have been about 20-30 runs short.
Overall, if we were to look at India's approach in T20 cricket, we heard from Rohit Sharma before they came for the T20 World Cup. Listen, we're going to be changing this template. We're going to bat like no matter the score is 3 for 30 or 3 for 100, whatever be the situation, we're going to bat aggressively. We didn't see that from the Indian team. They were still playing very safe. What do you make of India's approach? Is it outdated now in T20 cricket?
It's not outdated. It is at every this thing. It is a question of shot selection. If the shot selection is not correct, you're going to get out. In the first 6 overs, you need to take the risks, but you need to take the risks smartly. Look at the way England did it. England did it very, very smartly. They were playing the cover drives for boundaries. When Butler played started the chase with 12 runs in the over. Then there was Alex Hales moving away and then hitting it with, because it was a slower delivery, hitting it in a safe manner. They were not just wildly swinging. And that is the important thing. If you look at what India has been failing to do, is that they're wildly swinging. It's almost like a premeditated shot, and which is the reason they have not been able to get the kind of start that is so essential in the T20 format.
Plenty of senior players, maybe in the twilight of their career right now. They may continue to play the longer format of the game. I'm going to specifically talk to you about the likes of Virat Kohli. He had an outstanding tournament, but do you see him playing the next World Cup? Rohit Sharma, he's the captain. Do you see him playing the next World Cup? Then there's Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Ravichandran Ashwin. Plenty names come to your mind. Yes, some of them have had good tournaments. What do you do? Do you continue with them? Considering that they're in good form, some of them, or do you say no, the next World Cup is 2 years away and let's start rebuilding now?
Well, no, because the openers, never really got off to a start. Rahul got 2 half centuries. Rohit Sharma just had 1 half century. So clearly, I think, because the openers were not able to give the team the kind of start, it was just that little bit more difficult.
Sir Chahal. Okay, let's listen in now to the Indian captain Rohit Sharma, and this is what he had to say after that loss to England.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty disappointing how he turned up today. I mean, I thought we still batted pretty well at the back end to get to that score. But yeah, I mean, we were not good enough with the ball. It was definitely not a wicket where the team could come and chase down in 17 overs, 16 overs. But yeah, I mean, things like that can happen. We just, like I said, with the ball, we just didn't turn up today.
So Rohit Sharma there saying that we were not good enough with the ball, but was it the case of the Indian bowlers not being able to pick wickets over the English batsmen outstanding, starting with the skipper Jos Buttler? This is what Jos Buttler said.
Yeah, it does. Certainly does feel a long time ago, which is great. And I think the character we've shown as a group ever since that moment, coming into a huge game against New Zealand and getting to this point to put in our best performance so far. Yeah, it certainly feels that way. Obviously against the top quality opposition as well. And we came very excited. There was a really good feel around the group to get out the group stages and be able to play on occasions like this. And I thought everyone from 1 to 11 stood up today.
Okay, let's also listen in to Indian coach Rahul Dravid. He was asked various questions after the game got over about, the loss. How does the Indian team take it? What about the seniors? The question that I asked Sunny Gavaskar. Some of those seniors, does he still see them playing? All these questions were answered by the Indian coach Rahul Dravid. Let's hear him.
Yeah, it's tough, just after a few... Honestly, after a loss like that, it's tough to. But we'll reflect on it. I mean, it's tough to reflect on things so close to the result. But yeah, I think overall we ran a pretty good campaign. We tried to over the last year we've. Played some good T20 cricket. Even in this tournament, I think we've had our moments. There's been some real individual quality from a lot of our players, shown some real good skills. But on the day, we were just not good enough here. And I'm sure that, when you lose in a semi-final, yes, I know it's disappointing, but yeah, I'm sure there are things that we can look back on and reflect on and see that we've improved in, and we can take forward and move forward as we build for the next World Cup. Oh, it's too early to talk about it right now. It's just after a semi-final game. I mean, these guys have been terrific performers for us, and yeah, like you said, we have a couple of years to reflect on it. There's some really good quality players here, so absolutely not the right time to talk about this stuff or think about this stuff right now. We'll have enough games, enough matches as we go on ahead, and yeah, we'll try and build and prepare for the next World Cup. Yeah, well, I think they played well. I mean, that's the reality of it. I thought they played really well. Once they got off to that kind of start, I think they could really sit back and control the run rate. We had 168. They brought that run rate down to 6.5, I think, by the time the 6th over was finished, or 7 runs and over. And then on a small ground like that, they were always in control, so they were going to control that game. They didn't really need to take too many risks. They could sit back and not that they didn't take them. They played some very good shots right through. But yeah, I mean, these things happen. Yeah, it's disappointing. Debacle, I'm not sure is the right word, but disappointing certainly. Yeah.
Okay, listening to Rahul Dravid there, the Indian coach, he's made his stand pretty clear when it comes to the seniors. Should they continue or should you look at youngsters? Rahul Dravid saying that maybe now is not the time to answer that question. Maybe they need some time to reflect, come back to India, then take stock of the situation and then take a call what's best for Indian cricket. Sunny Gavaskar is still with us, and I'll take that question to Sunny Bhai. Sunny Bhai, I spoke to you earlier. You said that, it's a personal decision whether Rohit, Virat, Ashwin, Bhuvneshwar, all these names that I mentioned, whether they want to continue or not. And that's a fair point. That's an individual decision that they will take. But let's take a look at from Indian cricket's point of view, because it's a decision that Indian cricket also needs to take. It's a decision that Indian selectors also need to take. Looking at it from the point of Indian cricket, what do you think is the right way? Should you continue with some of these senior players or no? Now is the time to see that change.
I think it has got to be a mix. It's got to be a mix of youth and experience, because that's always the best way, because the youth can learn from the experience. Look at the way Arshdeep has learned over the last couple of months, not just in this tournament, earlier on also when he was part of the Indian team, sitting with a Jasprit Bumrah, sitting with a Mohammad Shami, sitting with a Bhuvneshwar Kumar, learning the craft, learning when to bowl at what stage. These are things where the experience can help the youngsters to come through.
Okay, fair point, Saima. Meanwhile, solve this mystery for me. Solve this mystery that how is it that Yuzi Chahal, who is a certified wicket taker in this T20 format, just take out the stats from the previous T20 World Cups, compare his stats, let's say, to Ravichandran Ashwin. Season after season, Yuzi Chahal is in the top wicket takers in the IPL. So just solve this mystery for me. How is it that one of the most standout spin bowlers in this format across the globe, not just in India, doesn't play two back-to-back T20 World Cups? Last time around, he wasn't even in the squad. This time gets selected in the squad, doesn't get a single game.
I thought that maybe he should have been played against Netherlands, because that is where, when you know that some teams are uncomfortable against wrist spin bowling, you give that wrist spinner just a little bit of an opportunity. Once the tournament went down to 4 and 5 matches and he wasn't playing, it was very difficult for him to find a place, because not easy for a wrist spinner to be able to bowl the lines and the lengths that he wants, where he can take wickets and also stop the runs. So maybe if he had played against, say, Zimbabwe, if he had played against Netherlands, that certainly would have given him an opportunity to maybe play in the semi-finals.
Okay, fair point Sunny Gavaskar makes there, that maybe it was too late to bring Yuzi Chahal straight into a semi-final. That's a point well taken. But then the question really needs to be asked, as in, why is it that he wasn't played earlier? Why wasn't he in the scheme of things with the Indian team? What's really surprising now is that Yuzi Chahal is part of that Indian T20 setup through the year. And then when it comes to the T20 World Cup, just a month before, somebody else is, airdropped into the Indian team. And slowly and gradually, that spinner goes on to become a regular member of the 11. And slowly, Yuzi Chahal is pushed out of the 11, despite the fact that he continues to pick wicket in those middle overs. And that's an area, if you watch the game closely today, that's an area where India were found wanting. Couldn't pick those wickets in the middle over. Okay, Saiba, just looking at two captains. And why do I say two captains? Because one is the current captain, that is Rohit Sharma. The other is your vice captain, KL Rahul, also perceived to be the future captain. Now, there is a growing criticism about both of them, that yes, good batsmen, immensely talented, have achieved a lot in their career, but when it comes to crunch game, when it comes to crucial games, they don't fire. Is that criticism fair?
No, I don't think it is fair, because look, not everybody can succeed in this game. Never in the history of this wonderful game of ours have all 11 players succeeded. They fail at some time, so you can't say that in the knockouts they failed, but they have scored in the other. I don't think you should look at it like that. You've got to look at the overall performance.
I don't know whether we are being too harsh or Mr. Gavaskar is looking at it from a different perspective. But Sani bhai, stay on. Plenty more that I need to speak to you about this India's loss, because this loss has hurt. It's hurt a lot of fans. I was speaking to a lot of them. India are powerhouse in cricket, financially as well as on the field. They've had some great performances here in Australia. But that multinational tournament that you go to, that big trophy that every Indian fan desires, that has eluded them now, tournament after tournament. We'll focus on that. Let's get back to this particular game. So where is it that India lost against England? Remember, India came into this game as the table toppers. England barely scraped through to the semi-finals. They had to win a couple of must-win games. But when it came to the crunch situation, England players put their hands up and made sure that they were counted on the day. Where is it that India lost the game? We take a closer look.
That's high. It's over, Kohli. England win. And they've given India a real hammering here.
Knockout of an ICC tournament, and once again the Indian team faltered. This time it was England, a team that redefined white ball cricket, perhaps may have taught India a lesson or two to how to play T20 cricket. So many factors that led to India's exit as the 9-year wait for an ICC trophy only gets longer. To start with, KL Rahul walking back cheaply in a big match against a tough opposition was a familiar sight. That dismissal and the debate rages on. India once again failed to make use of power play. Their average power play score in this T20 World Cup is just over 36. In fact, even in games where they haven't lost too many wickets, India have failed to get going. Against England, India got just 38 runs in the power play and then 62 in 10 overs. Adelaide usually is considered to be one of the more suited venues for spinners in Australia, especially for the wrist spinners. England's Adil Rashid and Livingston bowled a combined 7 overs for just 41 runs. India unfortunately didn't use one of the best leg spinners of this format in Chahal and persisted with Ashwin and Akshar Patel throughout the tournament. In fact, all through the tournament, India have struggled to get wickets in the middle overs, which is one of the reasons why the opposition teams have been able to get away in the death overs. In 6 innings, Ashwin picked up just 6 wickets, 3 of which came against Zimbabwe and 2 against Netherlands with an economy of 8.15. Akshar could manage just 3 wickets at an economy of 8.62. The Indian fast bowlers have done exceedingly well throughout this tournament, but on the big day they ran into Jos Buttler and Alex Hales, who were just too good on the day. But this has happened so many times in ICC tournaments that India have failed to come good on the big day. And then the wait continues. Sports Bureau, India Today.
And they are into the final to play Pakistan.
So there, as our detailed report points out, it wasn't just that one moment or one reason where India lost the game. Plenty of areas of concern for the Indian team, whether it was their batting approach in the power play in the first 6 overs. Did they go after the bowling? Were they aggressive enough? That's something that they'll have to look back at. Then the power play with the bowlers. Did they pick those early wickets that were needed when you knew that it was the opening partnership that was going to be crucial for very England? And then later on as well, when the spinners came on, India failed to pick up wickets. So plenty of areas that proved to be the Achilles heels for the Indian team, and that's why they ended up on the losing side. Meanwhile, let's also show you these visuals that came after the game. Visibly emotional Indian captain in Rohit Sharma could be seen sitting in the dugout. Clearly a big blow for him personally as well as collectively as a team. The team would have felt, because remember, Rohit Sharma was brought in as captain with the hope that because India hadn't won a lot of ICC trophies under Virat Kohli's captaincy, that is after Virat Kohli left the captaincy after the T20 World Cup about 12 months ago, Rohit Sharma was brought on. He had high hopes from this team. Remember, the team was preparing for a long time. The last 12 odd months, they were trying to get that pool of players that would be needed to win that ICC trophy, that T20 World Cup. So it wasn't just that one game that they've lost, it was the hard work of the previous 12 months or so that have now gone down the drain, with India getting knocked out in the semi-final. As I said, those visuals of Rohit Sharma, very, very emotional, sitting in the dugout thinking of where it all went wrong for the Indian team. Okay, Sunny Gavaskar is still with us. Sunny bhai, I don't know how long, because Rahul Dravid was asked about Rohit Sharma's future in T20 cricket. I don't know whether Rohit himself wants to continue. I don't know whether BCCI has different plans. We're getting a few indications because the team that's going to New Zealand is a youngish team, but I don't know whether that is because senior players have asked for rest or whether the BCCI already started thinking and looking into the future by sending a young team. But if I were to ask you, sooner or later you'll have to look at a new captain. Rohit isn't getting any younger. Who do you think is the ideal candidate to take this T20 cricket forward for the Indian team?
I think in a way that has started with Hardik Pandya captaining the team to New Zealand a few days from now. Next week, I think this Indian team will go under Hardik Pandya. So maybe these these are the signs of what the selection committee has in their mind.
Hardik Pandya sure is that one name that a lot of people are talking about. KL Rahul was the vice captain, but KL Rahul also hasn't stepped up to the plate. Whether he is the right choice, that is something that the BCCI folks would have to think about. But right now, plenty of problems for the Indian team. A lot of areas that they would need to address. But you must also remember, India has a big talent pool, all thanks to the IPL. You get to see a lot of rising young stars. If I were to ask you, have you seen a few young stars that India can invest in T20 cricket especially?
Not straight away, because right now the mind is still, with the fact that India has not made it to the finals. So the mind is still trying to analyze what happened, why we didn't score maybe 190, 200. These kind of things are at the moment still going through the mind. So I can't think of names, but surely I think the IPL, which will happen in March, April, May, will give you a few more pointers as to who the youngsters could be.
Okay, Harbhajan Singh also joins us live on the program. But before I go to Harbhajan, my final question to Sunny Gavaskar, we'll let him go because it's close to 1 a.m. here in Adelaide, and he's had a very, very long day. Sai, a final question to you, and this has nothing to do with India's loss per se. I'm looking at England's victory. Now that final is between England and Pakistan. It's actually a repeat of that 1992 World Cup final that happened here in Australia. The same two teams played. Who do you think now is the favourite in that final?
देखिए, जो पावर प्ले जीतता है, दोनों पावर प्ले जीतता है, वो टीम आगे जाकर मैच जीतती है. हमने देखा कि इंग्लैंड ने जब बैटिंग पावर प्ले चल रहा था, इंडिया का बैटिंग पावर प्ले चल रहा था, वहां पे तो अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस की भारतीय टीम ने सिर्फ 33 रन कुछ बनाए थे, और इंग्लैंड ने उनकी बैटिंग पावर प्ले आई तो उन्होंने 60 के ऊपर रन बनाए.
Okay, Saibhai, thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast. We've got Harbhajan Singh now. Harbhajan, you missed out on that previous discussion that we were having with Sunny Gavaskar. So I'll start with you from scratch. Let's take a macro look at this loss. I mean, India have now come very close to either lifting an ICC trophy or even reaching the final or getting knocked out in the semi-final. So mostly they've been playing these knockout games, but the results haven't gone according to plan. Is there an issue there? Why is it that India have not been able to put their best foot forward when it comes to crunch game in the recent past?
Well, it's very hard for me to digest the fact that Team India is not there in the final, because it seems they had everything, in their team in terms of batting, bowling, and I was actually feeling, matches in Adelaide, this pitch will suit more to Indians than the English batters, but that didn't happen. Of course, there's a lot to look at it, and if we put that micro thing on, there'll be a lot of areas of concern where Team India have actually lost the game. I think first 10 to 12 overs of India's batting was not properly up to the mark. It was, kind of a scene where, it looked like that Team India is playing a 50-over kind of a match, and it was impossible from that situation to get to 180, 190, which was possibly the score, winning score in Adelaide. And they failed to get there because first 12 overs were like, there was hardly any intent by any batters that, they wanted to get to that 180, 190 kind of a mark. Credit to Hardik Pandya, he played that brilliant inning, to put respective runs on the board. But yes, I think still 20 runs short. But if you have another 20 runs, they have won convincingly. They could have got another 20 as well, the way they have batted. I think credit to England. They played outstanding cricket, not just in batting, but they outplayed us in bowling also. Their spinner bowled better than us. Their seamers, they bowled better than us. I think they were a better team. Simple as that.
You make a very interesting point, Harbhajan, about India batting in a 20-over game like they're playing a 50-over game. Now, this is something that's not new. This is something that was spoken about the last time they were knocked out in round 1 of a T20 World Cup. After that, you had a new captain. We heard from Rohit Sharma. We heard from Rahul Dravid, the new management. And they said, listen, we're trying to change the template of how we play T20 cricket because we have the T20 World Cup in mind that is going to be played in Australia. And then we saw in a few bilateral series that approach kind of changed where they said, even if you're 30 for 3, we're going to still continue to attack. However, once you reach here at the T20 World Cup, that approach suddenly changes. Why do you think that is happening? Is there fear of failure that's causing this?
See, I don't know what are the reasons, to be honest. If they wanted to play that brand of cricket, we didn't see that from the game 1 itself. I understand early on pitches in Australia were a bit more spicy and had more bounce. Of course, but this pitch, I think you could have played far better cricket than what we have seen. I think that template was only in the air. We haven't seen any action on it. I haven't seen, apart from Surya Kumar Yadav and Hardik Pandya, yes, Virat Kohli have scored a lot of runs in this World Cup. But yes, I think the only template, the kind of template you're talking about, we have seen. With that temperament, Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya and Surya Kumar Yadav, they played with that sort of temperament. But otherwise, all the other guys, they were like playing 50-over game.
Harbhajan, I know that, a lot of people might say that, listen, it was that one game. And as you point out, England played very well. And people will say, okay, one game India lost, heavens haven't fallen. But would you say that India probably weren't as good in this tournament right from the beginning? Had it not been for Surya Kumar Yadav and some of those outstanding knocks he's played, or that one, blinder that Virat Kohli played in that game against Pakistan, which seemed to be miraculous at that time, had it not been for those 1 or 2 standout performances, India was still found wanting in most areas throughout this tournament.
I mean, you're talking about this tournament, what happened in the Asia Cup, where only 3 strong teams were playing with each other.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka, yes, they're emerging, and Pakistan is a good team. We know that on their day they can beat anyone. And there also Indian team didn't qualify for the finals. And here now we are talking about in this World Cup, the only team they've beaten was Pakistan, and the other team was like Zimbabwe. You were supposed to beat Bangladesh. You were supposed to beat, and South Africa you played against. That was the top side. Of course, that is a side that you want to compete with, and that's where you lost. And then you're playing against England. That is the team that you want to compete against or to win against, because they are proper teams. So you lost again. So only one big game you have won against Pakistan. And I want to take you back even in 2019, where people have mentioned that, no, they played brilliant cricket and they lost in the semi-final. But even in that tournament, the only team they beaten was Australia. And the rest of the other teams were like Afghanistan to some other teams, where those are not as big teams as India is. If India wants to rule in terms of winning cups or winning tournaments, they have to show the right intent. They have the players, they have every skill, in the world. But I think on those crunch situations, they don't just play like one. I think that's what is missing. And, today was a lot of errors. Arshdeep could have bowled another over. When the ball was swinging, you could have tried to bowl Arshdeep to get the wicket up front. And same goes with Bhuvneshwar Kumar. He was bowling with the keeper up. Once you have a keeper up, your obviously length will become little shorter, and then your ball will not swing as much as you like to swing. For your ball to swing, you have to pitch it up. And if you won't pitch it up, how are you going to get the batsman out? So these are very small and basic sort of things where we made mistake. I think Arshdeep should have bowled at least 2 overs with the new ball. That was the best chance to get Butler or Hales out.
Well, Harbhajan Singh makes a lot of pertinent points. I mean, I was sitting at the ground. I saw that wicket-keeper go up for Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Some people see it as an aggressive move. I look at it as a negative move. They're just scared that, the batsman is going to be attacking there. Allow Bhuvneshwar Kumar. That's his strength. Yes.
It was a negative move.
Sorry, Harbhajan. Go ahead.
You can't have your seamer Bhuvneshwar Kumar, who's a swing bowler rather than a fast bowler. If you have a keeper up for him, he would not, pitch the ball up, because he knows that with his pace, if he pitch it up, it is going to go from, where he's starting, the ball will go over the top. So, the best chance was the keeper is back, so he can, he's allowed to bowl little further up to swing. If you don't get the ball to swing, then Bhuvneshwar's pace wasn't going to be a threat to English batsmen. So is Ashdeep. We have seen what he did to other day to Babar. Bringing the ball back in, hitting his pad, LBW. Butler is also LBW candidate. Hales, if you see his record against left-arm seamer, you'll find 15 times he got out to left-arm seamer when ball comes in. But we didn't created those sort of opportunity by not bowling the right bowler at right time. And when it came to spinners, of course, our spinners, they should have looked to spin the ball, which obviously we didn't see the intent. They were looking to spin the ball. I know it's a small boundary on the side, but still, that was your best chance to take wicket, to bring yourself and your team back in the game. But that didn't happen. So that intent overall, I didn't see it. Not in batting, not in bowling, not in any department.
Right, Harbhajan Singh, mincing no words, and that's why we absolutely love him. Speaking from his heart, you were talking about the Indian spinners, Harbhajan, and who better to talk to us about, what went right for them, what went wrong for them. Just observing the game today, when you saw someone like Adil Rashid bowl, you saw that the ball was gripping. You knew that he was going to be dangerous. Clearly, England read the conditions well. They understood what the kind of pitch is going to be on offer. He got to that crucial wicket of a Surya Kumar Yadav. All thing in mind, I couldn't really, make any sense of why Yuzi Chahal wouldn't be played here. In fact, forget this game. Yuzi Chahal, a consistent wicket taker, doesn't play 2 back-to-back T20 World Cups. I'm guessing if he was part of any other international team, I cannot think of many international teams where he wouldn't make the 11 in a T20 game.
Well, if he was, playing for any other team in world cricket, he would have been your first choice, But I don't know why he's not getting picked. I don't know what he's done wrong, and what he said to someone that people don't pick him or don't rate him. World cricket. You talk to any batsman in world cricket, how they will respect Yuzvendra Chahal as a bowler. He's got a phenomenal record, and whenever he plays, he take wickets, he win games, and after doing all that, when it comes to World Cup, Asia Cup, he gets dropped. Why is that? Why the behavior with him is different, and when it comes to the others, when they don't perform, they're still part of the team and they still get to play. But whereas the champion bowler, he continued to perform, he will continue to work hard, but still don't get to play. I don't know what is the agenda behind this, but if I was part of the management, I would have played him from the game one, because leg spinner, you have seen Shadab to all Rashid and everyone, they have performed so well for their respective teams.
Yes. Different strokes for different folks. Clearly, in case of Yuzi Chahal, and as Harbhajan pointed out, any team would have loved to have had him. In fact, Josh Butler was asked before this game about Yuzi Chahal, because they play for the same IPL franchise, and he said he's a fantastic bowler. So I'm guessing that players like Josh Butler, players like Alex Hale would have been very happy not to see a Yuzi Chahal's name on the Indian team sheet. Just looking forward now, Harbhajan, what do you reckon is the future for Indian T20 cricket? Do you think the time is ripe now to look beyond the senior players, invest in youth? And I'm going to talk about all senior players. It could be a Rohit Sharma. Yes, Virat has had a great T20 World Cup. You'll have a Ravichandran Ashwin, a Bhuvneshwar Kumar, a Mohammad Shami. Do you think now now is the time to look at future, because the next T20 World Cup is 2 years away. So now start investing in youngsters, or think, no, some of these players can still play the T20 format for India?
No, I think it is the right time to actually think about it. What should be the plan going forward? And it shouldn't be a plan where, it's a 6 months plan. It should be a 6 years plan, or rather 10 years plan, where you want to see your team from here. And, sit back, think about it, and take the right decision. And I think with all due respect to all senior players, I think they have played enough number of World Cups, and yes, they have done well, whenever they have got the opportunities. But yes, India is still very far away from winning the World Cup. And yes, T20 format, I think there should be some serious thought about it, that, maybe bringing in the whole new setup, to see the new face of Indian cricket. Obviously, I think some tough decision will be taken after this, knowing that, that they have not won the World Cup. Expectations were high. And, if you don't change now, after 2 years, same Rohit Sharma, same KL Rahul, same Virat Kohli will be 2 years more elder. So I think, it's the right time to take the right calls. And of course, everybody will take in right spirit, because they know that this was about to happen, and I feel this is going to happen too.
A final question, Harbhajan, before we let you go, and this is a twofold question. Going forward, one, who do you see as the captaincy candidate who can take this new setup as you're talking about forward? And in terms of coaching staff in T20, should you even look at a different T20 coaching setup? We see that with teams like England.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier, even while I was talking to you like a couple of hours back, or maybe an hour back or two. We spoke about it. It's not just the captain. Of course, you please see to it, if, you can bring someone who just retired T20 cricket and who understands T20 format. Of course, with all due respect to Rahul Dravid, he's my colleague. I played a lot of cricket with him. He's a great brain, great guy. But I think if you don't want to remove Rahul from T20 format as a coach, yes, help him with someone who just recently retired. Someone like Ashish Nehra, who's got a great cricketing brain. Look what he's done there at Gujarat Titans, as a coach. And, I think there'll be something really good that will encourage a lot of the young guys. Of course, that with the new kind of mindset, what Ashish will bring into the team. I'm not saying Ashish. It could be anyone who just retired, who understand this format better than the others. Yeah. And of course, my next captain would be Hardik Pandya. There's no other better captain I see than him at present scenario. I think he's your best player candidate for captain, and he's someone who does every possible thing for the team. And you need more people like him, playing for the team rather than for individuals.
All right, Harbhajan Singh, thanks so much for taking our time, speaking to us, and being honest in your assessment of where the Indian team stands right now, and what does the future hold for the T20 setup as far as the men in blue is concerned, because a lot needs to change. It's not this one tournament, now 2 back-to-back T20 World Cups. Your team has been found wanting. Clearly, a major change needs to be made to ensure that you are on the curve, you're with the times, moving ahead. Things that England have been doing and how they've had a relook at their white ball cricket, completely changed it, and now they are the current 50-over champions and have also made it to the finals of this T20 World Cup. Harbhajan Singh, thanks so much for joining us. We'll take a short little break on this special show, but don't go anywhere. On the other side, we listen in to the Indian fans, one of the major stakeholders of Indian cricket. A lot of them travelled from across the globe, came to watch their favourite team, were hoping for an India-Pakistan final. They didn't get that, but their thoughts after a short break.
Taiwan excellence empowers innovation in everyone's life. We keep moving forward to a wonderful tomorrow, dreaming amazing dreams and living fuller lives. Everywhere, every moment, every day. Taiwan excellence. Everyday excellence.
News is about putting people first. Just look at the queues right across. About asking the right questions to those in power. Is money power being used to bring down elected governments? Who will be held accountable for ministerial corruption? It takes no sides.
माँ का दर्द एक दर्द कोई नहीं समझ सकता उस दर्द को.
It reveals. It heals.
Angry people came out on the streets.
Is this the kind of justice system we want in this country? News is all heart and no hatred.
बिल्किस बानो आज क्या कहना चाहेंगी आप?
हमारे साथ जो हुआ है किसी के साथ भी नहीं होना चाहिए.
Experience the news. With me, Rajdeep Sardesai, only on India Today.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
Welcome back to Battle of Champions, coming to you live from Adelaide. It's not the end to the tournament that Indian fans were hoping for. India not even making it to the final, so that dream final between India and Pakistan way out of the question. But it's also the manner of defeat against England. It was a one-sided encounter, and that's a rarity in T20 cricket because majority of the games are closely contested. What really went wrong for the Indian team? The fans also weigh in, so let's listen to them. This was England's night. I've got a few English fans. Come on, give me the song and dance that you were just doing.
I can't remember the words. How did it go? We are the army, the Bobby Army, and we are mental, and we are mad. We are the loyalist cricket supporters that the world has ever had. We are the army, the Bobby Army. We were expecting a tougher game, but we have a song in England, and it goes, easy, 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 easy.
Okay, who was the star today? Who was the
star today?
Alex Hales.
Hales knocked it out of the park.
Hales
Easy, every day. Hales, come back in the team, doing the business. Joss, yeah, ran him close.
Joss the boss.
Joss the boss, yeah. He led from the front, but Hales supported him well, right? 80 apiece, 4 overs to spare. It doesn't get much better than that, right?
Right.
We're just hoping the rain holds off in Melbourne on Sunday, right?
You're gonna knock Pakistan off, are you? With this kind of form?
Yeah,
easy, too easy.
It's done. Give me that easy against. That is a taunt to the Indian team.
Before we go, I think all the English batsmen are going to give up their business class seats for the bowlers. Yeah.
The Indian team.
Easy.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you in America.
Yeah, all right. What happened, brother? You've been supporting the team, traveling everywhere, right?
Yeah, man, we totally broke today. They broke our heart, man. Like every knockout games, every semi, we can't, go ahead more than semis. We've been, knockout from all the semis, like all the big tournaments, and I'm not saying we just fed up, but I know what
are you going to say, man?
He's lost for words.
On this loss, what are you going to say on this one?
There's nothing to say.
The team like India, you're gonna make semis anyway.
Yeah, of course.
You have the structure, you have everything. You're gonna make the knockouts. But that one step ahead to the finals, when's that gonna happen? When's that gonna happen? From last how many years? You name it.
11, yeah.
Champions Trophy, you say the T20.
2013 Champions Trophy was
the last one, and then the Pakistan final that in England.
So that all of you are visible. Yeah. Go ahead.
And then, how many knockouts we're gonna go out of the tournaments? ICC trophies. What's been happening to us? All the. I don't want to say like the low-grade teams, like the teams I'm talking about, KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, they go out, set the game on fire. And today, it was one of the most important, and everything was on the stake. For Team India, this was the highest, the platform to perform.
It was better. England taught us how we should play a T20 game. That's how we should play. Even like our openers, how many runs they made in power play? Like 35, hardly 40.
Few more Indian fans, they're trickling out now, all heading home. Many of them had tickets to go to Melbourne, but that's not going to be the case because England will be travelling there. India would have to go home. Not everyone's going to be going home. Some heading to New Zealand. What happened?
I mean, it's a disappointment for everyone who's been here waiting for India. We're expecting them to win, of course. We have Bharat Army everywhere. We have big support here, but unfortunately, conditions have not been the way they should have been. Few things I think the team has to change, from discipline being one of the things. And the second thing is the way they have performed the game today. I mean, having no wickets and then having the chance of losing the game is a big disappointment. You just can't let that such a big game being so casual.
I'd be very honest, the fact that England overplayed India in such a bad way is a very big learning for two things. If you see the game just as a spectator, when they had placed the players on the boundaries, they took singles and doubles like it was just a joke. They brought them in and same shot on offside for 4 fours. I'd say India batted well for the first time, where they didn't need bowling to save them. But then Alex Sales is just a beast. And if they get to chase, I had a discussion with one of my mates in the morning as well. We had a very fumble and normal discussion saying that if England get to chase, they win 99% of the time. But having a win like this is much worse than Pakistan's win. It's saddening. I had a Melbourne ticket. I think that's going to burn.
That's all the time that we have for you on this special broadcast. It was a pleasure bringing you all the latest updates from here in Australia. Unfortunately, end of the road for the Indian team, but still a big final to be played. We'll keep bringing you all the analysis and the interviews before that big final. Also remember, plenty of questions for Indian cricket. All of them won't be answered immediately. It'll be the days that will come. Some major decisions might also be taken by the BCCI. All those updates we'll have for you on India Today. So keep watching. For the moment, this is Nikhil Nas signing off from Adelaide. Bye-bye.
Is it a painful phase for a fund manager now where you may be forced to think of whether to include some of these